We are activating your unique self-discovery one show at a time. The Orchard of Wisdom Self-Discovery podcast are at your fingertips, just waiting to inspire and invite you in discovering just how awesome you really are and how to navigate through life in joy, enrichment, personal abundance, in mind, body, spirit, heart, and soul. All the people we bring you are here to serve you on your journey of life. Do enjoy our next show. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Your Health is Your Choice, right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and my guest is Frank DiPadua. He has this wonderful new program coming up, an app of wellness called Knowlie, and it's going to be free. Well, what is it all about? He's designed it with the user in mind. His mission is to provide accessible, customizable, engaging wellness content to users in an app that is anonymous and free. He believes that wellness is in the eye of the beholder. So Knowlie is open to conventional wellness techniques like mindfulness, meditation, and less conventional methods like sound healing. Sound healing is wonderful, by the way, folks. Chinese medicine, wilderness therapy, and much more. He wants the users to find words to find passion and purpose however they see fit, to believe that the best person we can control your wellness is you. He's a father of one and a half, a husband, a passionate creator. He grew up in Massachusetts town and spent a lot of his time outside playing sports as a kid, although he wasn't very good. He always seemed weird and self-known as a mellow kid who always was joking. He went on to university, New Haven for a year after high school, but dropped out after 2 semesters after dealing with deep depression, paranoia, and mood swings. He was later diagnosed with bipolar disorder and spent what he called kid gap year trying to write several novels, drinking heavily and sometimes avoiding public situations for weeks on end, and sometimes contemplating the big life changing moves. He has spent the next few years unmedicated and self-medicating openly, struggling with the bipolar disorder. He started dating his wife, who suffered from severe eating disorder, and she stood by him while he struggled through his own mental illness. They have their year-old son named Noah, and a cat named Ozzy, and another baby on the way. And he loves to write, to paint, to listen to music, and hike and cook. And he clearly is very passionate about health because he's decided to put this program together where it can help us, because drugs are not always the answer. Yes, I know that sometimes they do help and they have a purpose, but there are so many beautiful alternative ways that we can manage our health. Depression, bipolar, eating disorder, it doesn't matter what you've got. They call it the alternative, but quite honestly, it was there first. All these wonderful modalities were there first. But we don't always have that clear accessibility to them or understanding what they are. Is this what you're trying to do, Frank, on a site of making it very easy to find information and modalities that can help your health?
Uh, Yeah, I mean, I guess for lack of a better word, our real motive is to be sort of a one size no, sorry. We're fighting the one size fits
Right.
all approach. We're really trying to be a one-stop shop for wellness. So,
Mm,
it's anything from content. We've developed different journaling methods where we call it a 30-second journal, where someone journals and writes for 30 seconds and the writing eventually disappears. So that people can focus more on writing and journaling and less on critiquing what they've written.
mm. That's an interesting concept. Um, why? Why, unless, because sometimes you write it in a frame of mind, you're just writing, you're
Mhm.
just in the moment. And it's when you read it back that you actually understand what you are trying to say. So why have you done it in a way that it disappears?
I think a lot of the journaling that I tried when I was younger, especially going through the sort of the throes of bipolar disorder, I would write it, and then 15 minutes later, when I was in a different sort of mindset or more of a clear thinking mindset, I would look back and say, "Oh God, what the hell was I trying to write there?" Um, so for me, that was part of the issue of journaling, and the other part was sort of just, you know, I'd write something and then I'd go back and change it. And I tried to you know, I try to critique myself while I was doing it. So I found myself getting out of the act of journaling, really.
Hmm. I remember when I was told, journal, it will help your depression and all of that. And I couldn't do Dear Diary. So I actually became a blogger, an article writer. And I found that, observation of whatever was upsetting me or perspective that I had and putting it in an article became something that served me better. So it
Hmm.
it isn't always like the Dear Diary or the journaling every day, and I find that for me, I couldn't do that at all. It didn't relate to it. Whereas the blogging, I was addressing something. And that
Hmm.
even now, 20 years later, I can go back and read that and still have a connection to it as to where I was at that time, but also find it very often very relevant to where I am now, too.
Yeah, no, I think that's kind of the cool part about looking back and seeing what you've
Mm.
written, and I do write for fun, and I write. Excuse me, I just my cat's scratching at the door. Just give me 1 second.
Let her in, let her in. We love cats, folks, so we don't mind a cat being in here. All animals are wonderful, and they're probably coming to support him because they know that he's going through this interview.
Oh, I apologize for that.
That's okay. You should have brought the cat in. I find very often when I do interviews, animals want to be a part of it because they feel the
um
energy.
yeah, that
So,
could be it.
yeah,
Um
definitely.
but yeah, but to your point, I absolutely think journaling is valid. I think it's just you have to find what works for you. So I've got, notebooks full of nonsensical thoughts that I had one day. I've started a couple of businesses on a whim. This
Mm-hmm.
one, this one I'm a bit more invested in. So we've really worked on kind of, honing our craft. But I think it's absolutely valid. I think anybody really could write, and it doesn't have to be a journaling process,
Mm-hmm.
but kind of what the disappearing journal, 30-second journal, gives people is the ability to sort of just write something out and have this sort of ethereal approach to just write it, get it out there, and then it's out there.
I think it's actually very, very good when you're in that self-depredation mood,
Hmm.
right? And you're writing it out. What I say is spend the emotion.
Hmm.
Don't bottle it up, spend it. So
Yeah.
if you're writing it and you're spending it, but then it's disappeared, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's not revisiting you, it's not in your face. So I can see it really being beneficial for when you're in those moments of doubt, self-deprecation, we all go
Yeah.
through that. Um, where or anger, write it up, spend it, let it out, but it's not back in your face, kind of stirring it up.
Yeah. And we're not saving any of it. We don't have
Yeah.
any connection to the CIA, the FBI, anything like that. Um, it's really just for me, especially when I was going through sort of unmedicated bipolar and really starting to figure that stuff out, sometimes I just wanted to see something break.
Yes.
So sometimes it's nice to just write something down that you don't have to worry about reading
Mm.
again or somebody reading. It's just that crazy thought that was in your head and is now out in the ether.
Gone, spent,
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
And you made a point, see something break, because what happens with frustration? We want to froze something, we want to break something. It's not that we want to break the something. What we want to break is the frustration we're in.
Yeah.
So if we can do something like, every explanatory word you can think of, you can write out there.
Oh yeah.
And then it's gone, it's spent again. We don't know how to handle anxiety, depression, or anger or frustration. We don't know how to handle that. We've been told as society either take a pill and dumb it down or suck it up,
Hmm.
or go to the gym or take a jog. And
Yeah.
and that's not always, road rage. Nobody can jog while they're in their car.
Yeah.
And it's how do you release it without it hurting you or anyone else? And that's a very important thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of what we've been working to try to find. What I've noticed, we've had this up and running for about a year now, sort of from napkin to website to kind
Mhm.
of evolving to where we are now. There are so many people that benefit from so many different things, and for my this is coming from my own personal experience, from my
Hmm.
wife's personal experience. For years, we talked about, you know, there's a system out there that is not built for everybody. It really is, yeah, some people take medication. And look, just to be candid, I take medication. I'm not
Hmm.
against medication. I'm against people thinking that's the only resort
Right.
and thinking that that's the only way to fix it.
Hmm.
Because you can medicate somebody and they can survive with mental illness or with depression. Um, or you can teach somebody how to better handle it.
Yeah.
You can give somebody the tools that they need to flourish with it.
And
And
sometimes it's a balance of both, isn't it?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that's my case. I
Mm.
am medicated because I don't want to be an asshole husband or I don't know if I should be swearing.
That's okay.
Yeah,
That's
all
fine.
right. Yeah. Yeah, because I want to be the best person that I can be. And for me, with the dynamic of bipolar disorder, that's a specific thing that I have to do. But I've also really become passionate about painting, about
Mhm.
writing, fitness. I love to cook. I love to spend time with my son. So for, we're not binary people. We
No.
need to really kind of find what works for us. And a lot of times it's a combination of things.
We're not linear people either.
Yeah.
Life would have us think that we need to go in a straight line, and we're
Hmm.
anything but a straight line. Look at our DNA code. Look at the
Yeah.
wavelengths of any frequency. Everything is twisted and turned and has different spirals. And this whole thing that we need to go down a straight line, I think, puts too much strain on us because we're not meant to do that. And, it's really finding what's your rhythm of life. What is your rhythm? Get into your rhythm and try and maintain a rhythm that can get up and dance, or it could be rhythmic while you sleep. But it's
Yeah.
knowing your rhythm. And when you find that source, it could be Tai Chi, or it could be, a Taekwondo, it could be whatever it is for you.
Yeah.
Um, but it's finding that outlet that gets you into your rhythm, that allows you to spend the anxiety and find the calmness, because all the calmness, all the peace, and all the tranquility is not on the outside, it's on the inside. How do
Yeah.
we access it? How do we bring it about? And yes, the drugs, I suffer from depression. I have pills there on my shelf that if I feel the rabbit hole opening up
Hmm.
and I know I can't cope with it my way, then I know, okay, the anxiety is high at the present moment. For the next week, I'm going on those pills,
Hmm.
right? And then, okay, I'm fine now. I can go back to my way of handling it because it's fine. We have
Yeah.
that, we have that agreement there. It's not
Yeah.
like doctors will say, no, you've got to be on it for life. No, you know yourself. This is your health is your choice, and what we encourage people to do is know themselves and how to find a balance between medicine and other modalities that are going
Hmm.
to give you your rhythm and your equilibrium.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I think it's really important to kind of read within yourself when you're going to have certain experiences and when you have to just throw in the towel a little bit. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. For me, it's also a very physical thing when I can feel some anxiety and
Hmm.
depression and paranoia coming on. So yeah, I mean, I think really the core of what it sounds like what you do and what I'm trying to do too is that people are individuals and they
Yes.
learn different things and certain days, certain things work more than others. I mean, it really is a daily thing. There's not some days I want to draw and some days I don't want to touch a pencil. So it really does change.
Do you find yourself? I've just written my memoir, and I literally shut down the station for a month. I had 1 week with my family. I allowed myself that, and then 3 weeks of just writing.
Yeah.
Don't bother me, leave me alone. I'm writing because I'm not one of these people. There's many people, I could just read a chapter a night before going to bed. No, when I get into a book, leave me alone. I want to
Yeah.
read it until finished. So it's also knowing how you are. Can you just do fit it in here and there and stage by stage? Or are you one of these people that needs to say, I need to focus and I need to
Mhm.
drive that? And there is no wrong way. You've just got to know your way and honor your way because you're putting less strain on yourself that way.
Yeah. No, and I think it's as a father now of a very wild little boy, I was saying before we got this going recording, like he's a force of nature. He never stops. So it is hard to find sort of how to fit things in. So,
Mhm.
I make a point that my wife loves fitness, so I make a point to watch my son a little longer so she can do that. And then later on, she'll help me out and I'll be on the couch just sketching something like that. It yeah, I haven't been able to really like get my hands dirty with a paintbrush and really
Mm.
get into a painting, but that's okay. I've done a lot of drawing and I've got, I guess, digital napkins full of writing now.
Well, that will actually the painting will come in the next few months as he gets a bit older, and you go into the garage, and you set up a little painting thing for him with washable paint,
Yeah,
and let him go for it while you paint as well,
yeah,
and just let him express himself, and you will both stimulate each other, which is really
yeah.
wonderful.
No,
So,
it's really cool to watch. It's
mm,
really cool to watch the little things that kind of
yes.
turn in his head.
I'm a mother of three all grown kids, and it's my youngest that has the baby one on the way.
Mhm,
And it's I for the last not this last month because I was writing, but for 3 months I was at my daughter's 2 days every week looking after him while she was at work.
mhm,
And there's something different about a grandchild and your own child. There is, you're a long way away from that, but it is. I have maybe more time or patience to watch him, and I just absolutely love watching him play, busy doing things, and then stop, and you can see the eyes kind of roll and the eyebrow go up, and he's having this conversation in his head, and you wonder
Yeah,
what the hell it is,
yeah,
and I think the beauty of what children do, and puppies and pussycats and nature does, it slows us down to observe the moment.
absolutely, absolutely. My wife and I'll call that. My wife and I call that grandparent magic because my parents are the same way. They can sit with him and her mother as well, and just they can figure it out. Where we were like, this baby's broken. We don't know why he's crying. So, and they figure it right out. But yeah, I completely agree. Just seeing how he looks at things
Mm,
and kind of being a part of that, it's fascinating. And just seeing
yes.
the little things that he does that remind me of my wife, and he really is kind of my mini me. So that I think makes me see myself in a different
Yes.
light, and I'm sort of like, oh God, I could work on that. Um, it really is cool. Everything from swimming to kind of trying a new food. I love being a parent.
Mm.
It's the hardest thing I've ever done, but it is absolutely a wonderful, really cool thing.
Most rewarding
Yeah.
and ever changing.
Oh yeah.
And this is um people may think off topic, but it isn't, because so many of us are parents. And what happens when you become a parent, you're so busy looking after the child, you forget to look after yourself.
Hmm.
And again, life is balance. As you said, you let your wife go off and do her exercise. She lets you have that moment of quiet to draw or write or what you need to do. And that is what parenting is about, because it is the two of you. And we need to find those balances. And the child needs to know that's mom's time, that's dad's time, that's mom and dad's time.
Yeah.
And that it's not all about them 24/7, because then they'll learn those boundaries as well. But if we don't find that equilibrium and ways to kind of express ourselves or take care of our mental and physical and spiritual health,
Hmm.
then we are going to end up being too spent, and then we start having ailments stepping in.
Yeah. No, and we've been lucky enough that my parents and her mom are terrific in terms of watching him, and we get a date night every once in a while, which is really nice. And she's now 7 months pregnant, so the date nights are a little bit quieter now. But
Right, yes.
yeah, I think it's a lot of just juggling. It's a lot of for me, it's humor. That's been my thing for everything. So when there's poop all over the place and and I'm stepping on toys at 3 in the morning, and the
Mm.
cat's scratching my legs while I'm trying to get a bottle. I I think you just have to laugh at the chaos of it and really just kind of you know we eat dinner at the table and he throws his food, but take the time to just enjoy the chaos, like and
Yes.
understand. I guess that's my advice to new parents, for which I am one.
Hmm.
Any new parents out there listening, like it just embrace the chaos as much as you can.
Don't sweat the small stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, the dishes are going to get cleaned.
Eventually.
You'll sleep again.
Yes, you
I,
will.
that's it. That's in my 5 to 10 year plan. I think I'd like to sleep for more than 4 hours straight. So,
Right. Yeah. No, with two babies, yes, it might be a little while, but then they get to the teenage years and it's like, having toddlers on the loose all the time. So it's a totally different sleeplessness. I think, a lot of people get burnt out, whether it's at work or whether it's being a new parent, being in a new relationship, or just in discovery of themselves. And one of the big problems is they don't know what is out there for them that can help them, and they don't know how to access it. And one of the reasons I've been doing this for 10 years is having
mhm.
people like yourself with the platforms that can help people who are looking at, but what and how and where,
Yeah.
and that's, this is just come and listen to the podcast. It will lead you to where you need to
Yeah.
go. And, that's the reason why I do what I do. And I understand why you're doing what you're doing, because you're trying to show people the different modalities out there of health that they can access. And the thing is that if something comes up a little higher octave than the other, or would you like to
Mhm.
do kickboxing? Would you like to do Pilates? Would you like to do Tai Chi? Tai Chi? If something
Yeah.
kind of sticks out a little bit, pursue it.
Yeah.
Don't
Absolutely.
don't go into the talk yourself out of it. Why should I do it? Who else is doing it? Who's going to be watching me? Blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, right? Just go and experience it. Be willing to try many things
Yeah.
until
No,
you find that something that speaks to you.
absolutely. And that's why I'm really proud of what we've built. We're really actively trying to get some more people to contribute to try to get more and more things on there. But the possibilities are endless. And
Yes.
really, what I really like is like I'm not the type of person to go take a yoga class. I'm just not.
Hmm.
But with the app, I can do yoga in my own home. I can do it
Yes.
privately. I can do it, we've spoken to some really awesome yoga instructors. And like through talking to people, I've learned a lot about different things that I'd never even heard of.
Mm.
So, I just happened to luck into to painting and writing sort of on my own because there's not something out there where you can actively just say, you know what, I'm feeling like this. I got to do something.
Yeah.
I was pushed into a focus group. My parents got a pamphlet that said I have a higher likelihood of becoming a criminal or suicidality. Um, and then they kind of send you on your way and say, here's a pill. So
Right.
yeah, so there are a lot of good apps out there, and I guess this is maybe my competitive nature, but I really think ours has far more potential than those do because those are giving you sort of a one size fits all. I think meditation's terrific, but why would
What
you just
kind of
want,
meditation? There's
yeah,
so many different types of meditation, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and our, I guess at the end of the day, we really want people to have fun.
Yes.
The stuff that's out there for me feels very clinical. It
Mm.
feels like I'm going to wait in a doctor's office. For this, we've been working on zines. I'm wearing a t-shirt that I made for the app right now. Like, hey, we want people to have fun. We want people to share music and share passions and share their ideas to hopefully, although it is anonymous, and it's not social media, it is sharing in a way.
Mm. Well, looking at the name, Knowlie, it also is no lie,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
it's no lie, you've got it. Right? So the amount of people that I've interviewed are in these other, beautiful things, and many of them, because they couldn't find what they needed,
Mhm.
ended up creating either programs or health practices or something out of their own need that now serving other people.
Yeah,
And I always find they're the best teachers because they understand what you need and they've put it in that program that they know is going to serve you, right?
yeah,
So, those are the kind of people that been there, done that. And I'm
yeah,
going to be able to give you, but again, you as the customer have got to be willing to try different things because you could be absolutely fanatic about yoga for a while and then decide, no, I want to have something a little bit more, faster. I want to go to taekwondo or I want to do something else, and
yeah,
And that's okay. There is no hidden written thing saying that no, 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 you choose yoga. You got to stay with yoga. You can't leave yoga. And you can. You can try everything. You can do something
Yeah.
every day of the week if you want. If it's serving you,
Yep.
then that's what you need.
No, absolutely. And we do my founder and my co-founder and I talked about sort of how do we make sure when people sign their name on it, that's it. They have to do that. So, when somebody is signing up for Knowlie, we just do a quick drop of blood on the cell phone screen. Um, and then they're stuck with what they signed up for. So if you sign up for yoga, that's it.
Yeah.
Yoga for life.
Yeah.
No. um,
Bye bye.
no, no, we really want people to freely kind of find what they
Yeah.
want. And that's the idea where there's so many things out there that, you know, have escaped the peer review
Yeah.
that are not part of this giant scientific and sort of like pharmaceutical
Mm.
group, and so that's kind of what we're looking for.
And you said at the top, one size does not fit all. And you've got somebody who absolutely swears by a particular style of something. And oh, you've got to do it. You've got to do it. You will feel like this.
Hmm.
Well, we've got to understand that's how it makes you feel.
Yeah,
Somebody else may be resonating on a different frequency and it won't do the same for them.
yeah,
Right. And yes, they may give it a try. And then they say, you know what? Great. I'm glad it helps you. It doesn't me. The
yeah,
other person say, well, thanks for giving it a try. What are you going to try next? Not like,
yep,
what do you mean it doesn't work for you?
yeah. No,
Don't
try to get
impose.
yeah, try to get a room of people to agree on what toppings to put on a pizza.
Right,
There's
exactly. Yeah.
so many
Or which
options that
movie to watch on Netflix.
yeah, exactly. There's so many different things out there that connect with people in different ways. My wife could never just sit down and sketch for 20 minutes. It would drive her insane.
Mhm.
So it's, you know, we want it to be a personalized experience and something that you're not getting in other apps and on other sites.
Right.
You're with Nola, you're very privately cultivating what is going to work for you. And that doesn't mean you have to keep doing the same thing. That means if you try something you don't like it, you don't have to try it again. Or maybe you just don't like the person that is presenting it, you know?
Right. And maybe somebody else is also presenting it in a
Yeah.
different fashion, which is also okay. We have the right, folks, to say not for me. Right? We don't have, I don't like that person, awful. No, because for somebody else, that person is fantastic. It's
Yeah.
just that you haven't vibrationally connected, right?
Yep.
So if that person hasn't, but you're still interested in what they're doing, then go and try somebody else who's doing it because they may be more in your frequency.
Absolutely. 100% agree with that.
It's important that we do invest in our own well-beingness. People think that, well, I go to the gym and I eat healthy. So why am I, depressed or why am I upset? Well, we've got to realize that we're saturated day in and day out by negativities from the media,
Oh yeah.
social media, from just the sheer vibrational pressure of what we've done in the world. It's and especially if people are sensitive or empaths or sensitive in any way, they're going to feel it even more, and they don't know how to manage it. So we've got to understand that it doesn't matter. You're eating healthy and you're exercising, fantastic, but what are you doing for your psyche?
Hmm.
What are you doing for your spiritual wellness that can put you into a calm equilibrium so that you can be the calm amongst the chaos?
I think part of the big problem is social media.
Mm,
People, and I guess I'm part of that, like sort of first generation where social media was sort of, introduced.
mm,
Um, but people don't have like the proper expectations. What you're seeing is happy people or a happy couple. You don't know what's going on past that one
right.
picture.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big part of it. The other part of it is like if people can just openly lie and openly just say
Mm,
things, and then people hate their cousins now. People hate their family members
no.
because of a stupid keyboard. Because people can say whatever they want now, and we don't sit at dinner tables anymore. And you know, I think just that's something that I've noticed, and I'm only 29, so
Yeah.
I'm sure anybody who's got that on me has seen far more. Where like people aren't kind to each other anymore, and there are a lot of kind people out there, but I think it's really important that we start talking to each other again and stop being so focused on the social media, on who voted for who, on the news and the politics. It's absolutely toxic.
We've got to realize, A, that is an algorithm. So what you feed is what's going to go. So if you respond or like, they're going to keep giving you more of it. So if you don't want that, don't respond to it. And the
Hmm.
algorithm will give you more of the things that you support. We are an algorithm, right? What we put out vibrationally is what we're going to get back. If we are angry or miserable or uptight or judgmental, persecutory, we are going to put that vibe out and we're going to find those same kind of people. And what happens? Shoot stirs up and up and up and up, and then you've got doo doo everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So, because we've got caught up in the hysteria, and hysteria just loves to spiral and grow and grow and grow. And then, if you manage to step out of it, my God, how did I get caught up in that?
Yeah.
Right? Right. And we have to be mindful of where we put our foot in the first place. If you see somebody, angrily responding to a post that you've done, I wish you well, but I won't accept this kind of
Yeah.
talk, and delete them. Delete
Yeah.
them. You have that right to do that. Uh, and just don't buy into it. Don't respond to it. We can get angry at what's going on in the world because there's so much mismanagement going on in the world right now.
Oh yeah.
But we can be angry at what's happening. But the next question to be, well, what are we going to do about it?
Yeah. Well, and I think anything with social media, you've automatically added gasoline to a fire. So
Yeah.
I think it's inherent in human nature that we like chaos. I think,
Mm. We're
you know,
used to it. It's in our DNA.
yeah, no, exactly. I mean, I think, even just when I was saying sometimes you want to see something break, sometimes
Mm,
it's just the chaos of it. So
mm,
it's the Roman gladiators.
mm. The
It's
Greeks
the,
breaking the plates,
yeah,
which
but
they still do.
it's the drunken celebrities that you see on
Hmm.
TV. Like people like the circus of it, and we like the chaos of it. But I think,
The train wreck.
yeah, no, absolutely. But I think prior to just 10 years ago, you didn't constantly have this added fuel to the fire. So,
Right.
it- you know, so
We
now
also did things face to face.
yeah, yeah,
It's like there's accountability when you're facing someone.
yeah.
And
And
are you
and it,
going to dump on them face to face as you would, cowardly behind your phone or computer?
I grew up in an Italian family, so I what you see is what you get. Um,
Yes, very expressive.
but yeah, I mean, it's we can no longer just agree and disagree anymore. And I think that's
Mm,
part of what adds to the general feeling of just tension and anxiety. Is it, you
and
know,
disconnect.
yeah, you used to be able to say, okay, well, I think we both want the same end goal, but we don't agree with
How
how
to
it's
get
done.
there. Mhm.
And now it's, oh, you don't agree with me, that person's evil. So I think if you take away social media and you take away the 24-hour news cycle, there's a lot of happier people out there.
But I also think if for 1 week only acts of kindness and positivity could be posted on any social medias, could be on any news media, right? And promotion of acts of kindness towards one another for 1 week, we would literally change the psyche of people.
Yeah,
They
it's
want
an
that.
interesting thought.
They
Yeah,
want that. They want that kindness. They want it, but they're so caught up in this other turmoil. They don't know how to decompress from that.
yeah.
And if it was forced upon them that for literally a whole week, all they had to be was kind to themselves and anyone else in their vicinity in any way, you would see a change in psyche.
I think you'd still have some folks pushing against it.
Well, you'd have some folks who
But
wouldn't know what kindness is, if, even if it
yeah,
hit them in the head. It's they're too far gone. You know,
yeah. But no, I completely agree. People like puppy videos. People like to have that thing that separates, I think that's why, like, when I get home, it's so cool to play with my son because
Mhm.
he is the
Pure.
personification of innocence.
Yes. Yes, and has not been contaminated yet. And hopefully, with him and his generation, there is more of a consciousness out there of, look, we've seen what that negativity does. We've seen what that opulence does. We've seen what that greed does.
Yeah,
We've seen people strive to be the six figures, be the millionaires at the cost of their families, at the cost of their health. And we're seeing people now demanding, I'm working 8 hours, that's it. Computer goes down, I go home.
yeah,
There is no work after that time, and people putting boundaries in place. So if he grows up into that, he'll grow up with more balance and much healthier lifestyle, and also bring about a much healthier planet.
yeah, absolutely. I think you know, working in an office job as well. Like, unfortunately, I'm not able to do this full time just yet. So there's a little tyrants everywhere you look,
Yeah,
when so it doesn't even have to be the big presidents or the governments. It's really, just look down the street. There's somebody who has a position of power who's making it a little bit tougher on you.
yeah. But what is that power that they seek? Very often it is a lack of a sense of security or a lack of sense of worth.
Hmm.
It's a lack of sense of their own peace within them. And they want to power and lord over other people to make themselves feel good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's why it's important for people to find their passions in life, for to find something that makes them whole.
Yes.
You know, so that's part of what we try to do as well. In terms of we have the meditation, we have the yoga, and those are all, you know, anything that we're accepting. I'm really, ready to have and very happy to have it. But it doesn't have to be limited to health related things either.
No.
Gardening
Yeah.
is a terrific hobby. I love to garden. I'm a very aggressive gardener. I've had to rip up my broccoli and throw it across the yard a few times, but you know, gardening, basketball,
Mm,
weaving, you know, woodworking, really anything that's a hobby that helps people go from, hi, I'm Frank to hi, I'm Frank, who happens to be very passionate about painting. You know,
mhm.
that's sort of the flavor of life, and that's what we're trying to sort of create and to spread.
The balance again, that equilibrium,
Yeah,
right? We've become all or nothing. And that all or nothing is not working for us. It's breaking our emotional, our physical, yeah, our spiritual well-being down. And your health is your choice. And if you
yeah,
are, getting to that point, what are you going to do about it? Don't point the finger and blame. There's three
yeah,
fingers pointing back at you saying, well, what are you going to do about it?
yeah.
You've got to say no to certain things. You've got to put the phone down on certain things. You've got to carve out some time that's just you time to do what you need to do for you. And that means trying out all of these other things.
Of course.
And it's important to do that. And what you are offering people is that platform where they can come and find it and come and try it. There's no shame, no blame if it doesn't work.
Yeah,
Nobody's crucifying you. If you go from one thing to the other until you find that one thing that really it speaks to you, or you want to try many things at the same time, there is no criticism or judgment. And that's what people are so afraid of. Very often, what stops them from trying things.
absolutely. And the blood signature was just a joke to
Yes.
anybody who, um, uh, yeah, and to
He's got your
actively be
DNA.
and to be a part of it too.
Yes.
That's what I really like is anybody can really contribute.
Yeah.
So I've put recipes on there that I have, and
Mm.
they're done up in my own specific way. I don't know that anybody could recreate it because I sort of just do a palm measurement here and a couple fingers
Yeah.
here,
My
but
mother was always like that. A smidgen of this and a dash of that.
yeah, but I mean, the beautiful thing is you don't have to be a professional writer to
Mm,
write. You don't
mhm.
have to be you know, a Michelin star chef to cook something
Right.
and to share a recipe. You know, I look forward to every Christmas. My grandfather and he has this old recipe from Italy that we make, and it's called a poupret, and it's got orange peel in it and allspice, and it's this real hearty sort of peasant dish that they would make.
Mm.
and it's terrific. But like beyond just the flavor and everything, it's something that's being passed down from
Yes,
him to me to, hopefully my grandchildren.
right.
So there's something that's inherently beautiful in that too that we're trying to recreate. And it's tough to recreate digitally to the full extent, but we want people to feel empowered and to trust the process enough to say, hey, you know what? I'm just gonna give this recipe.
Mm,
I'm gonna learn yoga, and then I'm gonna try to show somebody a yoga video.
mm,
So it it's social without the social media. I
mm.
think I think it has a lot of potential to help people out, to help them sort of benefit from the creations of stuff, but also create and find that passion in themselves.
How do people submit things to you?
So they just have to sign up to the site, um, and then they'll set up their profile, and then pretty much all forms of media are taken right now. We sort of view all of it, so if there's anything that's against the content policy or anything like that, we'll have to take it off. But you remain the owner of your content. You can promote yourself. So you know, if you have a memoir coming out or anything like that, you can you make the profile, and you sort of have those things as a ticked box that you have that you want to offer, and you can link to it. It we'll get money eventually. What we're really focused on is having it be a happy, healthy place for people to kind of better themselves, but also just have fun doing it. So we want it to be open, and we want people to feel free to post content, even if it's a meme or a photo of something, so long as you're not going against the community guidelines, then please contribute.
So are you doing it by donation right now?
We're doing it by the pennies that we have.
Put the
I,
donation button up there. Like, well, my entire site is run by donation.
yeah,
So,
we might start selling some t-shirts and stuff. I like with the art stuff. I have one of my shirts on right now.
all right, neat. Yeah, that's really neat.
So we're and we will eventually have ads, but we're very committed to not having ads that are invasive or
Mm,
against what we want. So there's not going to be any advertisements from pharmaceutical companies,
right.
nothing from fit or weight loss teas. We're
From
very
from the
committed.
individuals that are actually contributing with their programs, that if they want to add an ad to it,
Yep.
there is actually a site, a work app from Australia. It started off as a classified thing because they found that people were not being able to find the people they needed quick
Hmm.
enough, and they started that. But now it's actually also become kind of a platform where you can put up your information,
Yeah.
rather like a Yellow Pages, right?
Okay.
But what
Yeah.
they do, you can put up the Yellow Pages free, but if you want to do some advertising, you can buy the banner that can run for a certain time as advertising.
Yeah.
So that might be a really good platform for you, where
Yeah.
people who are
No, I'll have to
already
look at.
promoting their yoga and this
Yeah.
and that can buy some airtime, so to speak.
Yeah. No, that'd be terrific. I'll have to have that sent to me afterwards. But
Yeah. But
yeah.
there's we have to support people like you. I mean, you know, it's been my dime for the last 10 years with the grace of people who donate, and some people are very generous and some people not. But I do this because it's important for me to get information like you have out to people so they can apply it to to their lives and
Yeah.
have a better quality life. And if they have a better quality life, they're going to bring better quality to the equation of human society, right? So,
Yeah, no, I absolutely appreciate that. I think that's terrific, and I think that's at the end of the day, I'm someone who has suffered through the kind of binary way that we think,
mhm.
and come out on the other side, and I found myself complaining to my wife for years about it, and you know, given the suicide epidemic that's going on, I saw you know, actually a YouTube creator, his son had committed suicide, and that was close enough home for me to say
Yeah.
that's enough. We
Yes.
need to do something.
Yes. And I'm glad that you are, because it is something. I mean, I do it in the podcasting way, so sharing the stories, but what you're doing is in the snippet way,
Hmm.
which where a lot of people, they've become headliners. Then they've kind of lost the art of really reading or listening to content. But
Hmm.
if we can, with the headliners, draw them in, to content, to actually applying themselves to something, they would realize the headlines are there just to introduce,
Yeah.
but you have got to participate in order to get results.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's, we're really trying to work on something that's fun. We're trying to
Mm,
innovate beyond just the content, really innovate in different ways, like with the journal. And, I'm really kind of talking to some folks to try to get it so we can have an education element to it too. And an
mm.
education through storytelling, through sharing,
Yes,
through poetry, through drawings, whatever that may be, but not through a paragraph in a book.
right. Blogging, you're going to be doing
Well,
that?
yeah, blogging will take, and
Excellent.
we're really looking to have sort of, I'm calling it table talks because I think people need to just get back to the table and talk. I think,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
people need to sit down and hopefully earlier and earlier if it's an engaging content where it's, we're talking documentaries, I might be interviewing whatever. I'll interview whoever wants to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Something where we can really start to have people talking and engaging at the dinner table, and even if
Yes,
it's just for 5 minutes, just something to further the education of it. Because the first I really heard of bipolar disorder was a paragraph in a book, in high school. And it's so more complex than just a paragraph in a book. I mean,
yeah,
you could write books about it.
yeah. I've had
Um,
quite a number of people with bipolar here on the thing, and they've talked about their various ways of managing it, but all of them were diagnosed kind of later and didn't know what was going on.
yeah, yeah. I was 19, and part of it was sort of they thought it was the average
Teenage
19-year-old
angst.
stuff.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Um, but then it sort of turned into some other strange paranoia and other things like that. But my biggest advice as somebody who's had it for 10 years now is like get yourself out of the box that you're being
Mm,
placed in. So
mhm.
for the first year and a half, I really um I introduced myself as bipolar disorder. It was
Mhm.
like, hi, I'm bipolar disorder, and also my name is Frank.
Yeah.
It became such a part of me that I thought it was almost like I
It
had
was
to tell people because I'm
your
crazy.
identity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So my advice and what really helped me, the two things were like getting out of that box that they placed me in and holding myself accountable.
Hmm.
And that's unfortunately something that we don't talk a lot about either
No.
with there's the problem with the wellness and the mental health space are they're so multifaceted, and I think a lot of it is well-meaning. I think people shouldn't feel stigmatized, but there also has to be something where you pick yourself up and you say, you know what, it's not my fault that I have bipolar disorder, but it is my responsibility on how I handle it.
Yes, and to recognize the triggers,
Yeah.
right? It is I have fibromyalgia, which I've had for 25 years, and I've
Hmm.
learned to partner with it. And it allows me to do what I need to do. But there are times where it says to me, look, you're too overtired, or you're too over this, you're too over that.
Hmm.
Start pacing yourself, start pacing yourself. And if I ignore it, there it comes, wham.
Yeah.
Now you can't do anything.
Yeah.
But if we learn to partner and trust it, okay, it's tapping me on the shoulder.
Yeah.
I've got to take a step back. I've got to do what I need to do to take care of me so that it doesn't consume me. That goes with anything that we have that is a challenge in life. I don't like to call it a disease, a challenge in life,
Yeah.
right? And if we learn to partner with it, we learn to respect its voice. And that doesn't mean we're giving it 5 stars. No, it's like, okay, you're an unwanted guest that moved in and I can't get rid of.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we'll learn to live cohesively, respectfully of one another.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing. If you're, whether you have a diagnosed mental illness or you don't, you can really look at some of the feel like there's a lot of physical elements to it that I think you eventually kind of pick up on. And,
Mhm.
I feel like tingling in my neck and stuff. There's a lot of weird things that you would never have expected until you kind of focus on it.
Yeah.
But there's that. And then there's just, it, living with the bipolar, I've actually become a much better person.
More
I'm a,
cognitive.
yeah, but I'm not saying like everybody go get yourself some bipolar, but but for me, it's humbled me a lot. It's helped
Hmm.
me think more deeply. It's helped me realize like I am resilient, and there are certain things
Hmm.
that if I put my mind to, I can really focus on. Um, and so I think to sound cliche, everything does happen for a reason. So if you can take it in stride and really not have it be your personality, but have something that shapes your personality in a positive way, then I think that's terrific.
We see all the time people breaking down the boundaries, like on America's Got Talent. They've had people that are blind, they've had people that are deaf. You see it on the dancing thing, people without limbs. I mean, there was a guy that is stone deaf. He doesn't even feel the vibration of the ground or anything, but he
Hmm.
tapped into the vibration of the dancer that he was dancing with.
Hmm.
They did a dance to the sound of silence that was utterly beautiful.
Yeah,
And you would never think that he didn't hear the music, but he felt her
yeah,
hearing the music. And
yeah,
that just shows we look at it as a disability. I love what one of my beautiful guests said, differently abled,
yeah,
right? Just differently abled. And it became a gift to him as a beacon of possibilities for others, right?
yeah. Absolutely. I think adversity is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It's not a fun thing to have when you're going through it, but like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, part of what going through the bipolar, part of my wife's struggle with her eating disorder, and she struggled for a long time when we were together, is realizing that you're resilient and you can actually those things can actually add to your personality.
Yes.
And for me it's humor. For me, I
Mm.
say I'm on the bipolar express if I'm having a little bit of a a little bit of an episode. I don't pick hikers up anymore, so
And that, being able to be open and honest and say, I'm on the bipolar express. She knows what to expect.
yeah.
She knows what to do with you or leave you alone or for you,
Yeah.
right? And that is a mutual respect on both sides. It's that if I am Sarah with challenges.
Yeah.
I grew up with health challenges because I had asthma from the age of 2, and it stopped me from doing many, many things. And
Hmm.
I missed many, many years of school. So academically, I am ditch water as far as some people are concerned. But I realized that I'm an intuitive channeler. And if I had all that education, it would have contaminated the purity of the thought that was coming through me to give to others.
Yeah,
So, we each have a role to play it. Accept your role and stop comparing or competing with anybody.
yeah, that my grandfather, my father have taught me more than any academic ever has. And
Hmm.
my son has taught me more than any
Yes.
academic ever
And more
has.
to come from him, that's for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and if you ever interview me again, maybe I'll be a little bit more bald or something, but
Well, the gray hairs have got my children's name on it, darling.
yeah, perfect. But my I don't come from a very educated family, and my father and my mother didn't go to college. My grandfather only went to school to the eighth grade. Um, but that man can build a car, and
Mhm.
he can feel the curve of a car, and he's
Yes.
built three or four hot rods now out of dust, right?
Mm.
Uh, Incredible, and just like the happiest guy you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
So
Because he's in
people,
touch with what he builds.
yeah,
It's an extension of him of what he's building.
yeah,
Right? It's not
abs
a manual. I can't read a manual to save my life.
yeah,
It's gobbledygook to me.
no, and
But
I
when
think
I,
it's
intuitively know how to do something, you just do it because it comes through you and you allow it and it becomes.
yeah. So I think to the listeners out there, don't hold yourself to any sort of
Mm.
educational stay. Like I, you should graduate high school if possible. You should do your best, but it's not for everybody. I dropped out of college. That was sort of the path that I was on. But education it's so different, right? So my brother can rebuild an engine. He can hear something and rebuild it. I would drive with a broken transmission for 2 weeks without knowing.
Yes.
But
But
that's me.
your expression is the art. Your expression is knowing
Yeah.
how to build something that other people need because you're in tune to the need of it.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is, your education level doesn't matter. You don't have to be well read to be a good writer.
No.
You know, I I'm really not somebody who reads very often at all. I've been reading the most over, the year with my son, the little children's books. So, you know, you'll find your way and you'll find what your education is, and it doesn't have to be something from a book.
Allow. Allow
Yeah,
yourself to explore. The biggest thing is don't become complacent. Um, and don't think that, oh, there's nowhere else to go. Is that you've just come to an end of a chapter. There's a new chapter to be written.
yeah,
Be exploratory. Be
absolutely.
wondrous. Look at it as
Yeah.
an adventure. We have no idea what we're capable of doing until we try doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that goes back to the adversity thing.
Mhm.
When you're going through certain things, I don't know if this has any correlation. My mom back in 2014 was diagnosed with cancer. Um, and when she was undergoing chemo, she made the best cookies. It was and and I don't know if it was the camo, we called it the chemo cookies, but you know, but my mother she wore a smile the entire time, she beat it, and she was a fighter. But
Mhm.
you take those things that happen to you in life that are no fun, and try to have some fun with it, and try to laugh about it, and try to just, grow with it.
Yes. The biggest discovery we have in life, and this is one of the biggest pleasures I have in doing these shows, is people who have discovered how strong they are, how courageous they are, the abilities that they have, the tenacity and the resilience that they have, and that they're so much more than they ever thought they could be because they were willing to go through the process of their growth.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know a couple of people personally who lost legs, who,
Mm,
now they do jujitsu and
yes,
stuff. Like the human body and the human mind is incredibly impressive. And
yes.
I think that's my big statement, is like, if you're going through something, put your mind to it, and just respect the process.
Yeah.
And you don't need all the quote things that say, you know, this is the first step to this other thing here. It doesn't have to be this corny thing. You're gonna hate it at times. It's gonna suck,
Mm.
but at the end of it, looking back, will be a much better, more rounded person. That's been my experience.
Your first leap is actually the first step.
Yeah,
Just, blind, deaf, and dumb in order to see, hear, and feel. Just be
I like
willing to
that.
take that step,
Yeah.
and with all that you're gathering, it's a safe place where people can come to. And it's rather like I'm seeking a recipe and I want to
Hmm.
try out all, an ingredient of this, an ingredient of that, and put it all together and see what it tastes like. And if we can look at the dabbling of
Hmm.
trying something out or being inspired by this or being inspired to do that on wanting to give back and share
Yeah.
something that you've done, that from the psyche uplifts and rebuilds and uh, has people come together in a connection that can't be broken,
Yeah.
because what we're doing is boosting everyone up. We're like going back to the old days over the picket fence. What can I do for you, darling?
Yeah.
You're having a bad day, come on over for a cup of tea. Or somebody fell ill, there's the casserole.
Yeah.
Somebody's celebrating something, everybody celebrates with them. If we could go back to that village where we all look out for each other and we all share everything that's working for us and that could
Yeah.
work for others, it's going to build a very fruitful, fortified village that will expand out.
I could not agree with you more. And I think that's why I truly believe in what we're doing, and that's why I think talking to people like you has really helped the process further along. Share. That's
Yes.
really
Yeah.
just share what you learn, share what you're willing to
Goodwill.
teach. Yeah.
The goodwill, share the goodwill. We don't
Yeah.
want to hear your axe to grind, like with the shows I do. I won't do shows that are going to end up with a negative. We
Yeah.
may talk about something catastrophic that's happened,
Yeah.
but how did you go through it and where are you on the mountain today? And it's always something triumphant.
Yeah. No,
Out
there
of darkness can come light, and that's what we want to see is the light.
Yeah, there's always another side, and
Mm.
unfortunately, we live in a digital age, so the picket fence might not be coming back, but that doesn't mean we can't, you know,
We can make a different pick of
yeah,
fence, right?
yeah,
The
yeah,
beauty of
absolutely.
this is you can connect with anyone anywhere,
Yeah.
anywhere. And we also got to understand that when you vibrationally connect with somebody on their frequency, you are connected. You can pick each other up from anywhere. You will know, you will feel. I'll give a quick story. My sister recently had a life-threatening operation. It was 60-40, 60 against her.
Wow. Yeah.
And I put the prayer out as I did for my mother a few years ago when she was passing. I had over 3 people sending, we call it prayers, but it's just good vibrations, whatever they
Hmm.
they wish. And
Yeah.
and for her continued recovery, she sailed through that up. And
Yeah.
she's recovering extremely well. I
Good.
fervently believe that those good vibrations that was sent to her helped her get through it. And I think if we could send each other those good vibrations in
Yeah.
real earnest from our heart and our soul and our spirit, and we would uplift and feed each other in such a way.
Yeah. I completely agree. And it doesn't have to be, prayer. It doesn't have to be cyclical. It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be, you know, I pray every night. That to what I see as God. It doesn't have to be
Us,
a
God, universe,
Christian
spirit,
God or
whatever it is.
yeah.
Yes.
I mean, even if it's not that, even if you're just pondering and thinking,
Source.
it. I think people need to really. Another thing that I've noticed with the whole sort of system that we've been talking about is there's not enough emphasis on the soul. There's
No.
not enough emphasis on the actual person that you are, rather than your
Mm-hmm.
your brain makeup.
Yeah, I'm completely there. I'm soul, heart, spirit. I call it the knowingness. When
Hmm.
when you channel the knowingness that through the soul's intellect goes to the heart in truth, which then goes to the spirit in ignition and goes to the mind, and the mind will know what it needs to know when it needs to know it.
Yeah.
It is allowing the wisdom to understand the knowledge.
Yeah. No, and I think my view on that stuff has kind of changed a little bit since having a child, because you see he his personality, the things that he's picked up without anybody
Mm-hmm.
showing him.
Mm-hmm.
You can see like it's beyond a brain, because everybody's got a brain. The brain is capable of I guess theoretically in every person the brain should be capable of the same exact thing if we're talking about, you know, a
Well,
model that's
hard drive, which makes the
yeah.
body go, but there's the programming.
Hmm.
And it's the programming where we can go wrong,
Yeah.
right? So if we look at the child while you're looking at your son and your daughter as she grows, and you see what they're drawn to, you see what they're good at, you see what the essence of them is, keep watering and nurturing that.
Yeah.
One of the problems they get to school or church or somewhere else, and people start dictating what they should be, and
Yeah.
we kill that intuitiveness inside of them of what they're meant to be. And then
Yeah.
as adults, they've got to go through all the crap and rediscovering themselves to be what
Yeah.
they're meant to be. So let
Yeah.
nurture the children to be what they're meant to be from the word go.
Yeah. No, I like that, but I think that just further shows there is something beyond just the brain.
Oh yeah, most certainly. I think my brain's lost. If I can't feel the knowledge, I can't think the knowledge.
Yeah.
So it's always feeling thought, not thought feeling. And other people do go with thought first. It depends on the personality traits, which I think is also something very important for people to understand.
Hmm.
What is your personality trait? I do true colors. I had a gentleman on this week who does disc, which is um, dominant inspiration, standing, and complacency. What personality are you? Our personality trait, which is the human trait, shows us in how we interact and how we receive information.
Hmm.
When we know that, and we know that other people interact in a different way, we can open up those spectrums to hear each other in a different way and not just
Yes.
one channel, right?
And that's what we're trying to do. I think the current system really is just it's set up for this is
Yeah,
someone's brain, and this is how, well, beyond that. it, it's this is your brain, this is what scientifically is proven to work for you, but we need to start taking into account how people are going to learn things, what resonates with certain people,
Yes.
why one person can build a car while the other person can't build a fort. You
Hmm.
know, what I think when we talk about medication too, I've noticed a lot of people that I've spoken with who are on medication specifically for some sort of mental health issue, there's a big feeling that you're losing a bit of your
Yeah.
personality and yourself with it.
Hmm.
And so that's a huge reason for people to just stop medicating. That's why I was off medication for a long time and just sort of, drinking and doing God knows what else to try to cope with that. Um, but that's not something that's even considered.
Yeah.
It if you
The
take a blood
balance again.
pressure, yeah, but you take blood pressure medication, there's no feeling in your mind that you might be changing who you actually are.
Hmm.
You know, I think that's the problem with the pill for everything sort of mindset is that we're not taking into account what people their thought process is while taking that.
Yeah. Well, for a long time in the schools for hyperactive children, um, and they would prescribe retinol for them. And it was like, hang on, all of a sudden you've gone from, yes, the hyperactive, they need more. I mean, to get a child to sit for 6, 7 hours a day,
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
yeah,
They're children that need to be more physical in order to be able to sit down and learn. And instead of adjusting the way they taught, they wanted to drug the children to be more compliant. Well, no, it
yeah,
just dumbed them down. It took them out of themselves altogether.
yeah. When
So
I
they
when I was
stopped
in
that.
well, when I was in second grade, I was on I don't know if it was Ritalin or what it was, but same situation. And it's uh, little boys especially are
Yeah.
are rambunctious, crazy little
Hmm.
children.
Yes.
And they're not going to all learn the same way.
Yep.
So it's a quick fix, but the problem is that
Is it a
the quick
fix though?
I mean it could very well lead to other problems when
Hmm.
you're giving people medication at that young.
Yes.
Um, but I think that's people are bored when things are boring.
Yes.
You don't
Um,
need a pill for that. It's
I had a son with OCD, not hyper, but OCD,
Mhm.
and I'd say to his teacher, I did go and get them all diagnosed, and none of it was HD, and I was OD, overdoing it. And so, um, and it would be, would speak to his teacher about it, and he said, none of that. It's just when he's interested in doing something, he does it 100%. If he's not interested, he doesn't see it.
Yeah, and that's called being a human.
Yes,
You
it
know that
is.
Yeah, that's the problem is we take normal human characteristics
Yeah,
and we meld them into what is going to work for a specific instance.
right.
It- you
This is
know,
why you see so many people homeschooling their kids today
yeah.
because of the institution which it has, education. I've got a whole series coming out of the Forgotten Children series, which has contributed chapters from people on raising our children. The institution of education has
Yeah.
become so mindless
Yeah.
that it is not producing productive people. You have the people that are robotically able to learn how
Hmm.
to use the manual and can go on, and they're purely academic, but they may not have social abilities.
Yeah.
And then you have the people with the social abilities and the adaptability that have been basically told nothing,
Yeah.
right? Because they didn't have the high grades. And
Yeah.
so we have to change that system, but I don't see it happening anytime soon.
No, and I couldn't agree with you more. I think, anybody who's gone to a public school has seen sort of uh, the clashing of those two things.
Hmm.
And I think unfortunately there's not enough emphasis on hobbies and things like that. So, while the standard academic stuff is terrific and very important, the first thing that gets cut if there's a budget issue is art, music, sports,
Yes, all of those things that feed a very, very important part of the brain and the psyche and the abilities. And it is deemed not to be educational. Well, do you listen to music, folks?
yeah.
Right? Do you like art? Do you look at the book cover? Do you the clothes that you wear? How come if these sports people are earning quadruple millions every year to for your pleasure, and it's like, and you're saying that these activities are not important?
Yeah, well, and I think that's a direct correlation to the rise in suicides. I mean, when you
Yeah.
look at what COVID did for 2 years, when we
Mm,
shut everything down, when we put masks on children, when we said you can't see your best friends anymore,
mhm.
we have to find a way to remedy that as a society. And if, I don't believe that the government is the answer, but we have to collectively work together to try to find something to remedy that.
But
You know,
but without angst, without anger, without pitchforks.
yeah, look, I
Yeah.
think we should all just say, look, it was a weird 2 years.
Mm.
Let's let's move forward. We
And
gotta,
the division that's come out of it is like, folks, this was meant to unite us.
yeah,
This was meant to show us, push the pause button for us to reflect on our own lives and to pivot and change into different directions. It wasn't meant to slice us down the middle and
no, and it,
separate us and have one pitch against the other.
yeah, and unfortunately, I think with health, with things like that that scare people, it gets very ugly very quickly. I mean, it's fascinating how quickly we turn into a Stephen King novel. You know,
Well,
it,
fiction is based on fact, right? Faction.
yeah, so it's I'm just not somebody who likes people to impose certain things on other
Mm,
people. So if you want to wear a mask, I think you should. If you don't, you shouldn't. That's just my opinion. But I think just even that led to such animosity between family members and
mm,
people who are canceling weddings. And there needs to be some sort of remedy where we can look back and see, like, look, there's a large number of people that couldn't see their parents as they died.
oh, I know.
That
And the elderly, the way that happened with
yeah.
them, yeah.
So there, I mean, look at and look at the elderly who
Mm,
lived through it and couldn't see their grandchildren.
no.
Like, so we need to find a way and you know, I don't
Compassion.
know. Yeah, well, beyond that though,
Mm,
we're happy to like Knowlie as an app, we're happy to hear any ideas that anybody has to try to help remedy some of those things. But like, you know, the amount of grief that follows somebody who isn't allowed to say goodbye to their
mm.
relative, it is beyond me.
Yeah, exactly. And there is always a solution, a compromising solution. If somebody
Yeah,
wants to come to an event wearing a mask, we respect that,
yeah,
right? They have a vulnerability in their health that we don't know about. Don't criticize them.
no,
If there is somebody having an event that's saying, "Look, I'm sorry, it has to be masks due to this," and you don't want to go, then don't go. Don't criticize them,
yeah,
right? And it's like, let's have a little respect for each other's um, choices in life without the criticism. And also, because what happened in so many cases, hysteria,
yeah,
just so caught up that people stepped out of reasoning, right?
and yeah,
And this is what caused all the anger. But the thing is, having a site like yours, which, as you said, is an app that is coming and it's all free, and it's about contribution. It's about people contributing what works for them, their goodwill, their cheer, their solutions, their joy, right?
yeah,
Their celebration.
hmm
And as I talked about, a week of kindness, what you're doing is you've put that on a site. If everybody kindly shares what's working for them and things that could work for others, we are lifting each other up and we're supporting each other, and we're not criticizing or damning or shaming or dismissing anyone.
yeah. Yeah, I think we're all in this together, and it doesn't have to be this. I've said this a few times now, but it's not social media. It doesn't have to
Mm,
be a contest. It doesn't have to
right.
be, oh, look, so and so is doing fitness, and they're really doing fitness. They're doing fitness really good, and you just started walking. Like
It's a notice board.
yeah, the
Yeah.
beautiful thing about it is you can contribute to it. You can be a part of it.
Mhm.
You can
Share
find something. Yeah, 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 please do it.
it.
It, we really want it to be a happy, fun place. And
Yes.
it's continually growing. We're continuing to reach out and we're continuing to grow. And we're con constantly looking for innovation. So,
Right.
the journal is one aspect of it. Please, I want to be the most easily accessible co-founder out there. So, if anybody has any suggestions, any ideas, if we're not covering something that you think should be on there, then please reach out.
Yeah. And and as I said, as far as monetizing, yes, you can make it that there is an advertising platform, but you can still put your stuff out there, but the advertising platform just takes you in a different direction. Um, and it's we need to support people with the work that they're doing because otherwise, um, everything has a cost to it. Whether it's time or whether it's money, everything has a cost to it. If we see a value in something, we should reward it in any way that we can, and because it's benefiting us. And it's the old adage of just somebody does something for you, you either pay it forward or you contribute something back. And it may not be monetary, it may be something else, but it is let's get back to appreciation, gratitude, sharing and community, because really we've been so divided, we need to come together. And for people that are looking for a kind of a place to belong, where they want to find ideas and innovations or solutions, but they want to do it without all the rah, 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 or, you've got to do this or else. That's been in our face for so long. We're not interested in that. It is like, God, this worked for me. If you want to give it a try,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And it's look, we're really trying to get involved in the culture of things. I'm constantly painting and drawing. I just designed a cereal box today. Um,
Neat.
the t-shirts, stickers, videos. We're working on a playlist for people. We want it to be something that feels much more like a block party than it does feel like, going to the DMV.
Right.
So,
Yes.
yeah. So please, if you can think of if and you or any of the listeners, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to address you or whoever's
Address
listening or
to all that are hearing
yeah,
us.
there we go. If there's anything that anybody can think of that would help that, you know, I
Want to
really think,
contribute to that, has ideas to that, most certainly.
yeah.
Yes, because that's what it's about. You're building a community where it's going back to the village. The village is only as strong as its participants, and everybody in that village has a role to play. And those roles serve everyone in the village. You've created a village here.
I appreciate that. So that's really what we're going for.
Mhm. So, how do people find the village and how do they send something in?
So if you just go on www.knowlie.app, it's spelled Knowlie, .app. That sort of gets you to our landing page. We have a lot of fun stuff on there. We'll have our zine that I just created on there. That'll be a digital version of it. Um, we have a contest right now where you can name our little raccoon mascot. You know, there's a bit more information on why you should contribute and the benefits to it. We've developed a suicide memorial wall where if you're, feeling comfortable enough, you can post a picture of your loved one who's passed and a little bit about them and who they were.
That's honoring them, really
Yeah,
respectful.
yeah,
Mhm.
so we're really continuing to try to look for different innovations. But once you're on there, if you just click on the sign up, that'll get you right to our sort of what will eventually be our app, which is still a site. Then you can set up your profile. You can save different things. We have the journal on that page. We have a few different things, word puzzles, really anything that's going to keep you busy. We're really trying to add to that.
So if
And
people are contributing, they contribute it in their profile, or it's something
yep,
that's sent to you, and if it's approved, it goes up.
they contribute to our profile first, but my co-founder does get a notification to him.
Hmm.
Um, and then they're also able to save things on their own profile. So
Hmm.
I have a couple recipes on there. If you like those recipes, you can save them. And everything that they save will be personal to their profile. So nobody's seeing what they're saving. Nobody's seeing how many things that they're saving. There's
Hmm.
no advertisements on their personal
So no
profile.
numbers game here.
No,
No
we're just trying.
competing, right? Just sharing.
Yeah,
Yes.
just have fun.
Yeah.
Share it, save it. say hi, do whatever.
Well, I've got a lot of people I know I can send you. I'm going to definitely be on there myself.
Yes,
And
please do.
this is I interview a great deal of many, health and wellness coaches, that have these wonderful programs that can help people, and for them to be participants of this in, why they do what they do and how it helps people, and it just gives people something else to try. You don't know if it's going to work for you until you try it. You've got to
Yeah,
give it a
absolutely.
try,
Yeah,
right?
and
And if you the more you have on there, the more people can try.
absolutely. And from a contributor standpoint, there's nothing, there's no catch. Right?
Mm,
All of your content is yours. Everything you add, you can take off if you so choose, if you so please. Like it all belongs to you.
right.
Um,
Okay. So there's stuff that's just in your profile, so people will have to go to people's profile to find it, or is there a mainstream where certain content goes into a mainstream?
it's all mainstream. So it's
Right.
just on one page right now. As we develop more content, we'll have more tags.
Hmm.
Um, so then they can find them in specific tag groups. And
Hmm.
sort of as we get more content, we're going to be able to implement some more of the features that we really want to implement. Um, you know, helping you find things that are similar to what you've saved to sort of help you grow and learn different things.
Wonderful. I've got my mind going turning right now. So we
Yeah,
will,
please
we
let me
will,
know.
we will be talking for sure.
Yeah, I'm
So,
sure I've got a
folks,
blind spot or two.
oh no, this is the thing, is that you take one step in front of the other. You're not meant to leap 10 steps ahead.
Yeah,
Right. So, somebody else would kind of, hey, a little step to the left and the right. Right. And that's
yeah,
that's what
much
it's all about.
appreciated.
No, yeah, that's how we build. That's how we learn. And that's how we grow. And that's how the village grows. So, folks, this is a wonderful platform. Not only if you're kind of looking for something that's going to help you, but also just something that can cruise, that's going to inspire you or uplift you or redirect you. Maybe you want to contribute to it. You've got something you want to say that's going to be uplifting, even something that wonderful that's happened to you that you want to share, that other people are going to be uplifted by what's happened to you, because that's what we do in a village. We support one another, and that's what's really, really important. So thank you so much for sharing here with us, Frank.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been terrific, and I hope I haven't talked your ear off too bad.
No, 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 no. I'm the
Yeah, I
one that
really
talks the
appreciate
ear
your
off.
time.
We are a talking show after all. So
Yeah,
it is www.knowlie. So KNOWLIE.app, not .com,
yes.
.app. Please go sign up, cruise, be a part of that village. It's a safe haven. It's all goodwill. You're not going to have anybody bashing anyone here or anybody trying to force something down your throat. It is like a mixture between kind of the notice board at the community center, the little pamphlet that you get that goes around from the community, but it's something you can contribute to as well. And the more we can contribute goodwill and support for one another, the better off we will be as a human race. So thank you so much, Frank.
Yeah, much appreciated. Nice talking to you.
Until next time, folks, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Find all of our shows on selfdiscoverymedia.com under podcasts or selfdiscoverymedia/shows. And for all our current shows, go to What's New. We are supported by you, the audience. You'll see a nice big shiny blue button for one-time donations, or follow us on Patreon and you will be able to support us there. We enjoy bringing you such wisdom. And the next show will be up in just a moment.